Yes, Sir Hairless here. Today we're back with a Patreon request, thank you for this one, and this is another Disney villain song covered by VoicePlay. Be Prepared from The Lion King. It's a very new one. At the time of this recording, it came out 3 days ago, so it's VoicePlay's most recent song out there. It's been a while since I watched the film, so long in fact that I basically did not remember the song at all really. Earlier I did listen to it a handful of times and it really kind of has everything. Rhythmic variants, dynamic contrast, speech versus singing, chorus parts versus solo parts, standard harmonies, chromaticisms. You know, it has a lot, and what is interesting is that on Spotify, when I was listening to it, it's a lot more musical than the video on YouTube, which I also listened to. I wanted to see it with the video as well. On Spotify, a lot of the sound effects that go with the video, such as the hyenas marching, they've been removed. And marching is very rhythmic and gives it a bit more of a militaristic feel. So it's quite a different experience watching the song from the film compared to just listening to the song. Anyway, for the reasons I kind of mentioned before, I think it's very ideal for VoicePlay. We do have another new face to the channel, and that is Mykal Kilgore. I'm told it's pronounced Michael. He's a very experienced Broadway performer.
Your powers of retention are as wet as a warthog's backside, but thick as you are. Pay attention. My words are a matter of pride. It's clear from your vacant expression. The lights are not all on upstairs, but we're talking kings and successions. Even you can't be caught unaware. So prepare for the chance of a lifetime. Be prepared for sensational news. A shining new era is tiptoeing nearer.
And where do we feature?
Just listen to teacher. I know it sounds sordid, but you'll be rewarded when at last I am given my dues. And injustice deliciously squared. Be prepared.
Hey, did you hear that?
What's up? He's talking about the lion, yeah, the dad and the cub.
I think I know him. What are we gonna do?
We can turn him into a delicious stew. Ooh, then he'll pay his price.
But who will be the king if we end his life?
Well, not Mufasa, Mufasa, Mufasa. No king, no king, la 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 la.
Could someone please explain this thing?
Idiots, I'll be the king.
Long live the king.
It's great that we'll soon be connected, but the king will be all-time adored.
Of course, quid pro quo, you're expected to take certain duties on board.
The future is littered with prizes,
As though I'm the main address here. The point that I must emphasize is you won't get a sniff without me.
so prepare for the coup of the century. Be prepared for the murkiest scam.
Meticulous planning, tenacity spanning, decades of denial is simply why
The king undisputed, respected, saluted, and seen for the wonder I am.
Use my teeth and ambitions are bare. Be prepared. Yes, our teeth and ambitions are there.
Goosebumps.
Be prepared. We'll be prepared for you. Sensational news. Tiptoeing nearer. Listen to tea.
This is a really useful one to have that, what do they call it? Karaoke version at the end, because, well, we're going to go over the analysis in a bit, but a lot of the background music is what really, really makes a song like this. And being able to hear the parts there, just like that.
Sensational news. Tiptoeing nearer.
Alright, let's go back to the start and go through it. This is one where my enjoyment definitely increased as the song continued. The opening, very percussive, quite tribal sounding in my opinion. They're setting the scene, a great set as per. VoicePlay seem to love entering through smoke or through the sides from the back. Also, just a general shout out to Jeff for this one. He just seems to be so well suited for the role. At least his character is. It's acting. I'm sure he's lovely in real life. At least I hope he is. Also, these chords we're hearing, hum is the sound. Very enunciated in terms of the consonants, the huh sound. It adds to the percussive tribal elements that are the dominant force right now in the soundscape. Typically, I think it's because tribal sounds aren't that sophisticated due to their lack of technology. Things are fairly disjointed at the start, especially they're not so smooth flowing.
Wet as a warthog's backside, but thick as you are. Pay attention. My words are a matter of pride.
Kind of like a collection of ideas that have just been thrown together. And I don't know, at least for me, I feel like this subconsciously keeps the suspense. Calmer music, it's calm because you get comfortable with the flow of things. There's none of that here. It's keeping us on our toes. Now, this bit, we've seen Caesar just doing a salute. If anyone doesn't remember from the film or hasn't seen the film.
It's clear from your vacant expression, the lights are not all on upstairs.
This is Caesar's impression of a mentally vacant hyena.
It's clear from your vacant expression, the lights are not all on upstairs.
And what do we get in the background for the harmony? These ha, ha, ha.
Not all on upstairs, but
if you say it, ha, 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 that sounds like laughing, right? But in this case, it brings the idea of panting to mind. They are hyenas after all. Also, the percussion underneath the music, there's a lot of reverb applied to it.
not all on upstairs, but we're talking king.
These echo effects to really enhance the idea of being in a sort of barren, rocky terrain, which is where Scar and the hyenas reside. And yeah, the harmony, it gets a little bit peculiar at this point. I like it. They're singing in the same key as the original song and are using the same harmony.
It's clear from your vacant expression.
So prior to this, we've heard 3 chords, which work nicely. We find ourselves always returning to A minor. But this bit, now we have a new chord, C minor, and then back to A minor. It's a bit odd, but I'd argue that this, again, adds suspense to the music. It's not expected. We're kept on edge and kind of like we are with Scar or Jeff. We don't know what he's going to do next. It's funny because I was thinking Jeff's melody is actually quite melodic compared to the original, which has a lot of speech, kind of speech singing in there. But then we get this bit.
But we're talking kings and successions,
which is very speech-like. So then I'm thinking, oh, maybe there will be more speech. But then he suddenly becomes very, very melodic because
even you can't be caught unaware. So prepare.
That drop down there, that now is taking on a harmonic role. He drops down to the bottom E, except 1 octave down. This one here, that's as low as your lowest choral bass would be expected to sing. For Jeff, nah, let's go 1 octave below that. Super, super low. So onto the rhythms of this bit. VoicePlay and their rhythms, if you've seen my VoicePlay videos before, you'll know I think they're always very clever, very exciting, masters of rhythm.
You can't be caught unaware. So prepare.
We get la 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 la, very, very standard rhythms coming at equal intervals. Previously we had ha, ha, ha. Now la la la, so shorter but still standard. And la la la, it's kind of halfway between actual lyrics and vowel sounds you'd usually hear in a cappella music to accompany the melody, such as ah or ooh. So that by itself is not that exciting. So what did they do as well? Well, we get lane.
So prepare.
With this kind of drop sound. This creates cross rhythms with the standard rhythms of the la la la's and opens the arrangement up. We also hear Jeff's bass part slide down underneath.
Unaware. So prepare for the chance of a lifetime.
And then we get this bass rhythm we're all very familiar with. We associate it with a certain type of music or dance. Dum 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 dum. So it's turning a rather dark song into something that seems a bit more fun now. And another thing VoicePlay love doing, which they did here, is repeating the lyrics in the background, but I don't know, kind of in funked up rhythms, and I find it to be a bit more energetic than the melody, or maybe energetic in complementing of the melody.
Lifetime, be prepared for sensational news. A shining new.
Because of the speed of these backing parts, they can comfortably get more dissonances in there. No, not more, just dissonances in there. And by comfortably, I just mean they're not as exaggerated. There was one here, for example, that really stood out to me. It's just very short.
Lifetime, be prepared for.
Just there. So we've got the top part going, and the part underneath going. So together. But I hear another part, which is essentially mimicking the lower part, but instead of, we get, which would create this clash if I play this 3-note phrase again. There, which then resolves on the last note. Temporary clash, just on one note, barely noticeable, but it does stand out. It's resolved though before you can even really have time to think about it. As we just saw by that little phrase, the overall motion is down, the top and the lower part are moving downwards, but Jeff, his part kind of overlaps. He moves up.
Lifetime, be prepared for sensational.
So we also get a nice kind of contrast of melodic shapes there, up and down. And that leads into a bit that, I don't know why I'm giggling, it just kind of makes me giggle, but I really, really liked it. You'll see what I mean, the little run.
Sensational news, a shining new
And that leads into, well, that kind of starts this next bit, which I really like. It's probably my favourite bit of the whole arrangement.
news, a shining new era is tipped.
In the background, we've got dum dum dum. Ah, you know, it could be one part, it could be two parts. The point is they're disjointed, rhythmic, energetic parts in there. And then we get homophony on a very fun bit. They're talking about tiptoeing around, so they all sing the same lyrics at the same time as the melody.
A shining new era is tiptoeing nearer.
And where do we
And the music is major now as well. And major is associated with happy, whereas minor is usually associated with sad. Well, it definitely feels more happy. It's actually just the last chord of this 4-note phrase that is major. The other 3 are minor. So this is what we're hearing. And there's just the major chord at the end. It goes to show how in a little musical section, if we can call it that, you can create an overall happy feeling, but the majority of the components are actually the opposite. We can thank the circle of fifths for this one, the inside circle of the minor sad chords, the outside circle of the major happy chords. We moved from here, sad to sad to sad, and then the final sad chord, instead of G minor, we had G major, the happy variant.
Just listen to teacher. I know it sounds sordid, but you'll be rewarded when at last I am given my due.
We've now moved to sustained notes, the purpose of which is to exaggerate the chords. It's a nice chord progression, it's quite non-standard. It kind of sounds like it should be chromatic, but instead of, we get this part.
I know it sounds sordid, but you'll be rewarded when at last I am given.
And going back to the points we were talking about earlier, we have these sounds, then what happens? They go straight back to
I am given my dues, and in just
the staccato, ha, 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 and then la 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 la. The bit that follows, I won't talk about it too much. It's definitely more theatrical, a bit more of a story time for us. I really do like it. I'm not always a fan of speech in songs, but when VoicePlay do it, it's usually a good thing.
Did you hear that?
What's up? He's talking about the lion, yeah, the dad and the cub.
I think I know him. What are we gonna do?
We can turn him into a delicious stew.
It really reminds me of their Oogie Boogies song, which I loved. We're coming up to the Halloween season now, so to get yourself in the spirit, why don't you go out and check out my reaction to that if you haven't seen it already. Card up here. The background music in this section as well, it's handled very well.
Talking about the lion, yeah, the dad and the cub.
I think I know him. What are we gonna do?
We get a contrast of these, I'm going to call it obvious sections and then more subtle sections, but Jeff's bass remains obvious throughout. It's doing that funky melody I mentioned earlier. Dum, 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 dum. So it's kind of maintaining this rhythmic energy, funness in there. Right, so there was this one bit and I was very curious what they'd do. I'll show you the clip from the original first. So there it's comically kind of half singing. They are actually in harmony with each other on the no king, la 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 la. But they're just not in the same key as the music. VoicePlay, let's just say they've upped the musicality here. Okay, on to Mykal. Well, he starts singing here. First solo I've ever heard by him. All I'll say is hello.
I'll be the king.
Long live the king.
What a voice, what a range, extremely versatile. I mean, I imagine VoicePlay would be chuffed to have him to be able to write parts that can do that. For context, that's the highest note a chorister would be expected to sing. And a bit further on, again, a very, very high part, very accurate. We're going to assume it's him as well.
I'm the main address. The point.
Humming as well, very difficult. To just rewind a bit. So we then got the harmonically changed section again that I was talking about, where the new chord comes in and it sounds a bit peculiar. We got a very nice transition into it this time round though.
To take certain duties on board.
The future is lit.
That nice arpeggiated figure, it does sound quite synthetic, but it really exaggerates the contrast between the full chest voice and the lower notes, and the upper notes are done with this sort of
Lord.
The future.
airy, blended kind of voice. All right, back to this bit. Now things are red, you know, the video is quite dramatic.
So prepare for the coup of the century. Be prepared for the murkiest scam.
Great voice. It's just very, very high set. One that I imagine would complement Ellie very well. I imagine those two singing really, really well together. It's very, very accurate. Very soulful in its accuracy. Some people just have that kind of voice, and quite a unique timbre as well because of how high set it is. Speaking of high voices, I haven't heard High Villain Jeff in a while. Well, not until today.
It's saluted and sing for the wonder I am. Use my teeth and ambitions are bare. Be prepared.
And then he just suddenly drops straight back down. Very short-lived, High Villain Jeff. But I don't mind because of that drop there. And the last bit, just nice all round. I think my final point will be, there was this 3-part homophonic run by the guys. And that growl. But the run, it's not only a nice addition, but it's also very much a great example of the rhythmic variety they like to include in their arrangements. They'll always get something in there, something unexpected and just a bit different. Yeah, that was really fun. The first time I listened to the original song, I wasn't too keen. I listened to it a few more times and then I was very keen. I don't want to speak too soon, but I feel like this could be the case with this VoicePlay one, except I am already very keen on it to start with. Yeah, I liked it a lot. I thought it was really, really good. Great introduction to Mykal. What a voice. Suits them really, really well. So we'll leave that one there. Thank you again for this request, and thank you as always to everyone for watching. Would appreciate a like and a subscribe. Please comment down below other songs by VoicePlay you'd like me to do. And the best way you can support me is by joining the Patreon on the screen now. You get access to exclusive content not available on YouTube, and I will see you next time.